So, hi everybody. Welcome to the first official Gambit Spotting podcast. I am your host, Meg, aka Punker Ducky. These are my co-hosts, Riley, Liv, and Vonnie, and we're going to take you through some amazing, mostly enabling Gambit adventures. So, if we're gonna all buy the stuff, we're just gonna make you guys all buy the stuff with us, basically. However, there will be other purposes other than just enabling in this podcast. For starters, we're going to go through and do what we call the Gambit Guide. So we're going to go through all of the major arcs in the 616 timeline, and then if we have time after that, probably start going into other variants. We're going to do what we call a deep dive, deep into the bayou, where we're going to do deep dives on Gambit lore to get everybody familiar with stuff that they may have missed or comic arcs they may have not read. Some of you are just coming into the Gambit fandom because of X-Men 97. So our goal with this, other than to make you buy all the Gambit stuff and make them make more Gambit stuff, is for you guys to catch up to where the rest of us nerds have been for 20 years. Or longer, depending. We're also going to do a segment that we call Alt Bits, where we're going to go into variant universes, some of the random arcs, like when Gambit suddenly becomes the son of Namor, and somehow looks nothing like Remy LeBeau, or acts nothing like Remy LeBeau, but is somehow Remy LeBeau. We're also going to do some artist spotlights. We're going to have some celebrity guests periodically. And of course, we're going to give you the latest Gambit stuff to buy, upcoming Gambit appearances, and any convention appearances for Gambit actors or voice actors. With that, we're going to do some introductions now. So, my name is Ducky. I am in California. You guys can find me at my handles, Punker Ducky, pretty much at Punker Ducky, most places. I am on Twitter, I am on Blue Sky, I am on Instagram, and then I'm on Tumblr as Punker Ducky Memes because someone jacked my username, which is rude.
Rude.
So let's go. With that, let's go to Vonnie. Vonnie.
I'm Vonnie, aka Marvel Millennial. I'm based in the UK. You can find me on Instagram as well as Blue Sky with Marvel Millennial.
Oh, I forgot the most important question. So, why Gambit?
For me, obviously anyone who knows me, I'm a big lover of Rogue. So there is no Rogue without sort of Gambit. They come as a pair and they should stay as a pair. So, yeah, very much Gambit is the one for Rogue, so that's why I like Gambit.
Yeah, that's acceptable. That is an excellent reason. So I completely forgot my part of that. So why Gambit for me is...
what is yours?
So when I was far too young and formative, I watched the X-Men animated series, and I imprinted on that man like a baby duck, basically. So here we are. It's been 30-something years, and I'm still just as equally obsessed. Anyway, let's go over to Riley. Riley.
I'm Riley. Yeah, I'm in Florida. On Instagram, I'm Cajun Cajole Art. And then I think everywhere else I'm either Cajun Hawk or Cajun _ Hawk. I mean, as a child, it looked awesome. Come on. I was like, who's this? Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, and he's
Hooked you as a
Cajuns.
child.
Yeah,
Well, there's that.
too. Yeah.
In case you guys couldn't tell by the username, Riley is also Cajun. So
I'm in Florida, so I don't think it counts anymore, but...
I don't think that
It still counts. It counts.
You don't get erased, sir.
I got erased.
A little bit more...
I'm erased, oh no.
Just
a little bit
reset
more
everything.
questionable
Yeah,
with your
right.
life choices being in Florida, but I don't think you get culturally erased. So
Okay, good. Some people would say differently, but that's okay.
you know, it's in your DNA, dude. You're fine. Just make gumbo every once in a while. Bring back
Monday.
your Cajun essence. That's fine. All right, Liv, it's your turn.
Yay! Awesome. Okay, hi. I'm Liv, and I am from Texas. I'm in Texas. On Instagram, I am Call in the Spirits with lovely underscores in between all those words because I am a giant haunted mansion nerd. Let's see. Why Gambit? I'm trying to make mine sound slightly different than Meg's because unfortunately I kind of had the same situation of watching the original animated series when I was a kid. And yeah, I think just from first appearance, first episode, I was like, he's awesome. He's super cool. And he's like saving Jubilee. And, you know, it's like as a like small child, I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. So yeah, immediately locked in, locked on target. That's my new obsession. And it stuck for ever after that.
I mean, that's the best way to get just like hooked us as children, and basically it was like the gateway drug to comics, I think, for probably a lot of us.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
at least how it happened with me. I wasn't a big comic reader.
Mine
prior
was
to...
a little different.
Oh, please elaborate,
because
sir.
my cousin had 266.
Oh.
So I saw that first, but I didn't know what X-Men was. Like, I didn't understand it because I was 5, And I was just like, who's this? And he's like, oh, it's Gambit. Like, he's Cajun. I was like, oh, okay. So that's all I knew until the cartoon came out. And then I was like, oh, and then my mind was blown. I was like, X-Men, wow.
And then it devolved into obsession, like the rest of us. So,
Yep.
I mean,
It
it
happens.
Pretty much.
So to start out today, we're going to go into like the very basic, like very beginner level stuff here. But we're going to start off with the introduction of Gambit, like his first appearance. And I'm using air quotes with that. Those of you not watching on camera can't see that. But I'm very much using air quotes because this is something that has been quite hotly debated. I didn't realize it was hotly debated until I was much older, and now there's a lot of discourse on the internet about it. There's, technically speaking, 2 first appearances for Gambit. So the intended first appearance was Uncanny X-Men 266, which Riley just mentioned seeing as a kid. It came out in June of 1990, and it was meant to be Gambit's first full appearance. He was on the cover. It says, enter the mutant called Gambit, and then it's this whole story with him and a de-aged Storm. However, 3 weeks earlier, by some kind of error, he actually was also in X-Men Annual 14, which came out in May 1990. And he is a background character in an issue called Days of Future Present. And because that technically came out earlier, some people argue that is his first appearance. So we're going to kind of talk about it a little bit and kind of debate both sides of it just to have a little bit of fun here and figure out which one you guys, after we tell you both sides, think Gambit's first appearance should be. There may be some arguing. Just, there's 4 of us. It's going to happen. It's all friendly. We all love each other for the most part.
Is it?
Gentle arguing.
It's gentle. We're going to try to sway people to the side that we think is accurate. So, I know I have my thoughts on why I picked the particular issue that I want, so I'll go ahead and start us off. So I think that it should be X-Men 266, and that is just because in my heart of hearts, like, that was how nature intended, okay? Like, X-Men 266, that was supposed to be his first issue. That was the issue that was, like, drawn, and the plot makes sense for it being his first issue, and I don't think that should be ignored just because they screwed up and set the other one out first. Because basically, like, plotline chronologically, it is before X-Men Annual 14. Riley, do you have something to add to that?
Did X-Men Annual 14 get a children's book? I don't think so.
As he holds up his children's book.
I don't think it did. I don't think so. So
I don't think it did either. So does anybody care to debate the opposite side of that?
Wow. Okay. All right.
This is a safe space.
This is a safe space. We're judging you only a little.
Within these 4 cubes here.
Okay, so my entire stance on this is being technically correct, which is, as we all know, the best type of correct. So, having read through both, I do agree that, yes, the intended first appearance is 266. However, you can't really debate that the first technical appearance would be the annual. Like, it's not just, oh, he's, like, in the background in one panel. He's on, like, I think 11 different pages. He's got dialogue. Like, he's introduced as a character that we're supposed to already be kind of familiar with because of the publishing order, but it is technically a first appearance.
Imagine being confused reading that.
You're like, who is this guy?
For the first
just, like,
time, you're like, wait, who's this? Who is that?
This guy. And then you don't get resolution for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, and then
What
it's like,
is
oh,
happening?
enter the mutant called Gambit.
Yeah, just like, I feel like it's kind of lame to be like, enter the mutant. Just kidding. He actually entered 3 weeks ago and we screwed it up a little bit. It's fun.
Yeah.
Just show be like, hey, there's this new dude. He's Gambit. He's cool. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. Just blah, blah, blah. Middle. It's fine. I do have to say, the people that debate this on the internet, if you spend any time going through like some of the older forums where like this is, I did not realize like the contention around this particular error, basically. But they're like, some people are just like, oh, he's just like, it's just a cameo. And it's like, well, if it's like 11 pages, like at what point does it cease to be a cameo and it's an appearance? Like, do we know like what the line is there for, oh, it's just background? I think had he just been like a minor character in the background, just kind of popping in there where he doesn't actually talk, there would be a stronger argument for, hey, that doesn't count as an appearance. But when I went through and looked back, I was like, damn, that's a lot. Like, he's in there a lot, and he's talking, and...
Yeah, and they're talking to him, like, yeah.
Yeah, there's only one line of dialogue that he has that is with someone who is not Storm. And that was, like, mid-fight. So, but it's like, we've got them, like, sneaking into the mansion, and he's chatting with her. We got, like, the lovely explanation that I thought was absolutely hilarious, just going through all the, like, we've got somebody transposed into their other self, and then we confirmed this by this other chick who went back in time and told us that that is in fact accurate. And you have this character who's been kind of vaguely introduced listening to all this, and he's like, yeah, okay, sounds good.
Yeah,
and then like literally, yeah, and then like next time that he pops back up, he's in an X-Men uniform. So this is like, all right.
That was a really cool, quick adoption there. Like,
yeah.
Storm's like, he's good, and everyone's like, alright, like, welcome to the team. Like, there's no.
Here's your X.
Obviously, they didn't background check him. I'm just.
Right.
Because then they would have been like, hey, wait a second. But I also like, because if you read 266, like, he's very clearly introduced as like a thief. Like, hey, there's this other thief that Storm found when she was a child, basically. And then she, like, shows up at the mansion, eventually, with him, and was like, hey, this is this guy I met stealing shit. And they're just like,
They're like, all right, checks out. Cool.
Yeah, that tracks.
Welcome aboard. Here's
Welcome
your uniform.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. We have meetings every Wednesday, and HR's down the hallway. It's just like...
God, do they actually have HR? That would be such a nightmare.
No, if they did have HR, no one would have a job. No one.
Oh, like, that'd be such a thankless job.
Gambit's first couple sentences alone to Rogue, they would have been like, sir, you need to leave immediately.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be here.
Yeah.
Maybe go to jail, too. Like, there's going to be a lot of PowerPoints in your future.
Probably training, you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remediation, it'll be a thing. You can't. So,
No.
I know most of us are familiar with X-Men 266. If you're not, you should pick it up. Like I said, it was the comic God's intended first appearance of Gambit, and it kind of gives you actually remarkably very little of his backstory. Like, for being a first appearance, and this is something that you guys will notice, like, going through the 90s, is he was meant to be like this mysterious character that just kind of like popped in, and we weren't supposed to know anything about it. So you don't get a lot, like, and you don't get a lot for like years, and then eventually we kind of do. Still, I mean, it's what, how many years now since his first appearance? Like 35? Trying to math.
Yeah.
Just hit 35 years since his first appearance. We're all old, sorry guys. In that 35 years, we still don't know comparatively, like with other characters, like a lot about him. He's just still kind of has that air of mystery, like about him just in general. Like, we don't know a whole lot about his past. We don't know a lot about kind of what's going on in that brain of his. He's always been very kind of like secretive and hush hush. That is very apparent in this particular issue. There are a couple of things we will say that did not age well from this first appearance.
Nope.
We're just gonna go ahead and put that out there, because anybody that does read this, if they are getting the original or one of the reprints of it, there is a panel in here that we should discuss with him and Storm, who, mind you, is a child at this point in time. And, Vonnie, would you like to read out loud what Gambit says to a de-aged Storm? I'm just going to put you on...
Oh, you're going to put me on the spot with
I'm
that
going to
one.
put you on the spot, live from the UK.
So, good thing you're so young, I might start to get ideas.
Can I just say real quick that if you buy the book, it's not in there.
That's probably...
The children's book.
The
children's
Yes. So it is.
well
it is.
done,
It is
publisher.
safe. Yeah,
they're like,
exactly.
hey, wait, so they knew. They knew.
Yeah, they're like,
hey, wait a
let's not
second.
put that in there.
Seems like that's a lesson that was learned, and they stopped kind of doing that. And thank God they let that die with just that comment. But there again is a lot of people on the internet that like to show this particular panel, and it's literally like it's Storm and Gambit with a parachute, and then like they had landed, and he was like kind of holding onto her because they were parachuting together, where he was holding her, and that's when he drops that line. And I understand they're trying to like set him up to be a ladies' man. However, if he doesn't know that she used to be an adult,
Yeah, that's
weird.
not the way to do it.
And I
Yeah.
don't know, is it ever actually implied in this comic or afterwards that he knew that she was de-aged?
So there was a line in there that he's like, if you are who I think you are, or something like that, something to that extent. So like, I think that he does recognize, but again, just doesn't question. He's like, yeah, I think that you're this, X-Man that I probably have seen on, the news or whatever, but like, you're a child version. That's cool.
Yeah,
Come
before
join
the
my
parachute, just before the parachute scene, he does say, Cher, you don't talk like any kid I've ever heard. So he's kind of got an inkling there.
Like, it vaguely implies that he might know, but it's still very weird. It's a very weird statement. Again,
Very
there's a lot of
sus.
people on the internet that like to
Yeah.
take this particular panel and abuse it out of context. I mean, even in context, it's bad, don't get me wrong. Like, it's just...
It is.
If we could just avoid that page altogether. So yeah, it's like controversial immediately from COD's first intended appearance. So I'm just gonna keep like throwing that at Liv. Like, this is what it's meant to be,
Thank
damn
you.
it. It's supposed to be. It's supposed
That's
to be.
fine. I'll just
266.
hit you back with the technical first appearance. So
I know, you and your technical,
The technical first appearance.
technically speaking.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of backstory about like this first appearance of Gambit, first appearances. He was created by Chris Claremont, who wrote most of the dialogue for this, including the weird comment. Again, Mr. Claremont, the hell. I digress. And then Mike Collins and Jim Lee were the other two that were involved with his creation. However, there was kind of a bait and switch with this, as people notice. If you look at it, the exterior art on the cover is Andy Kubert, and that was designed after Jim Lee's like character design. And then the interiors were a different artist. So he was designed essentially by Jim Lee, who was like, hey, this is what I want him to look like. This is how he's supposed to look. And then the interior art was actually like Steve Geiger and Mike Collins, I think, did the drawing. And it's very different. So people, I think, were going into it expecting like, hey, this is going to be Jim Lee. And then you open it up and you're like, this is not Jim Lee. It's not bad. Like, like some of the panels are a little very like 90s rough comic book villain looking guy.
yeah.
But if you're thinking Jim Lee and then you get not Jim Lee, like I can imagine that would have been a whiplash. Like, I was too young to know. Like when I was like, oh, look at him, he looks, But the people that were like really into comics at that period were probably like, what the hell? Like, this is not. And they told him like, hey, oh, Jim Lee designed him. Jim Lee designed him. So everybody kind of picked this up expecting that, and then clearly did not get that.
This is what I want him to look like. Okay, doesn't even look like it.
We'll
Like
take it under
it's
advisement.
changed enough. You're like, it's close.
I mean, I'm okay that the Thawne situation that's on the cover.
Yeah,
You
he
don't
is
think
very
that's great?
obviously
You don't
wearing
think
like
that's great.
it's kind of like Cyclops,
Oh.
but it's definitely more sexy. Like this underwear.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen his concept art?
I have not seen his concept art actually.
Oh yeah,
No.
it shows like he's got like biker jackets and stuff like this. I'll have to find it, but they finally came to what we got, But
I assumed
there
it
were
was
some I
probably
was
a
like, that's
process.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
So
And we still kind of go through that with various iterations where they're like, especially like coming into New Uncanny, like this last year, there was a couple of different like costume designs that kind of went through, but he always kind of boils back down to that same kind of trench coat look, which we'll go further into next episode. We're gonna have a
Classic.
whole big discussion about that. Maybe we should refresh on his first appearance sketches for that. That sounds like an excellent idea. The other thing that I've learned that was very interesting is that when he was created, like Chris Claremont has talked about this, apparently he was inspired by one of the characters from Dangerous Liaisons. And if you have not watched that movie and are an adult, it is a very adult themed movie. It's kind of that, like the character he's based off is this guy named Valmont, who's a very he's a whore, for lack of a better term. Like, but he's like a classy whore. It is set in like I think it's like French provincial. I'm not sure the exact era, but he's basically like there to seduce women. Like that is kind of what that character does. It does not end well for him. Spoiler alert. However, like that apparently, like Chris Claremont had watched that movie and then was like, hey, I kind of want to make this character and have him kind of have those attributes, which I think explains a lot about his kind of first couple appearances and where the intention was for him to go. Because as we're about to discuss, like Chris Claremont's initial ideas for him never kind of came to fruition because he ended up leaving, and it kind of they took him a different direction. So I was just like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. Going back and looking into him, like in hindsight, like the first appearance kind of, especially with the line towards Storm with like, oh, good thing you're being so like that is very much something that character from Dangerous Liaisons like would have done, like the seduction of people, because I think the character that he is intended to seduce in that movie is actually like a very young woman. Like she's like very like she's like she's supposed to be married off to somebody, and his whole purpose is to go in there and kind of like get in between and seduce the woman away from him, basically. Yeah, ruin her. So like if that was his intent, you're like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And then thank God they did not go that direction.
Great job, nailed it.
Yeah. So some of the discarded ideas, and again, this is all discarded stuff. This is the Gambit that could have been and was intended to be initially. Like I said, he was supposed to be a bad guy. So his whole thing is he was supposed to be a villain. And there's a couple of different origin stories that we have heard, kind of if you're going back through old interviews with Chris Claremont. The initial one is that he was supposed to be like an artificial construct created by the real Mr. Sinister. So he was supposed to be kind of like a plant from the inside. There was also like some debate that he was created as like this younger version of Mr. Sinister who was stuck in like a 12-year-old's body. Like Mr. Sinister was the bad guy that he mentally created, and then Gambit was what the superhero would look like. So that was kind of like one origin that they had talked about. It kind of seemed to die, pitter-pattered out, but it's still frequently referenced a lot. Like people think that Gambit was like a co-creation with Mr. Sinister from the mind of this like real Mr. Sinister that was a child. And that's a really weird, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but at the same time, like that's a really weird like origin story. So like technically speaking, Gambit was never real. He's just like an artificial construct that was created by this kid. The other one is that he was again created to be this bad guy, and his intention was to be connected with Sinister from the beginning. So he always kind of has that tie to Mr. Sinister, no matter which direction they seem to go with him. Mm-hmm. And then he was supposed to seduce Kitty Pryde, who is supposed to be the next leader of the team. Allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
And she's real
let's
young.
Let's talk
again.
About how I was gonna say.
So he was supposed to seduce, basically get inside, seduce her, and then like ruin the X-Men from the inside. So there's a couple of issues with this. When
just
he
a couple.
dropped, just a couple. First of all, when he dropped that information was like within the last like 5 years, maybe. So that was a very late addition to his, like, where he says Gambit came from. And this is, again, interviews from Chris Claremont on different podcasts. He had previously said, yes, that he was intended to be a villain. Yes, he was supposed to go into the X-Men, and he was supposed to kind of break them apart from the inside. He was supposed to kind of be, like, the bad guy that infiltrates. And then this Kitty Pryde thing kind of got dropped much, much later. And everyone kind of went, what? Like, excuse me? Again, because Kitty Pryde is so, like, young compared to, like, because I think, like, canon timeline, like, Gambit in his first couple appearances was supposed to be between, like, I want to say, like, 20 and 25 years old or something. Like, he's in his early to mid-20s. So Kitty Pryde at that point was teenager? Not exactly sure what age she was. It's kind of very in the murky there.
Yeah, I think she was at young adult level, but yeah. I mean, yeah, there still would have been like a bit
definitely
of an age gap.
Still young.
But I have a bigger issue than the alleged age gap.
Do share.
That at this time, Kitty was on Excalibur.
Yeah. So there's a couple of issues.
Yeah. That's
with-
true.
Yeah.
Was he misremembering and now trying to like shake things up a little bit? Is he just kind of forgot? Because it's like 35 years ago, like presumably longer. If you're talking about like the editorial leading up to publication, like there had to be some time in the works prior to that. So I was like, that is kind of weird. Like just like in general, like okay, having him seduce Kitty, like okay, but again, like, as Liv just pointed out, like she wasn't even on the team at that point. She kind of popped in on that X-Men 14, which was not, but some people think is the first appearance of Gambit. But she wasn't like a main part of the team, like the X-Men team that he had access to. So to say that he came in with the intention of like seducing her, A, it's a little weird, and B, like, but she wasn't really there. So that's...
Well, was she even physically in that issue? I think she was just referenced. She was just referenced. She wasn't even there.
Yeah, she was just referenced. Like there was no...
Yeah.
I don't think she was actually in there.
Because
Like, they
she was
talked
on
about her,
Excalibur.
obviously,
So again,
had a bunch of shit going on otherwise.
Yeah.
So
there was time travel, you know.
But it's like maybe that was intended, like she was intended to come in later and then it
Yeah.
happened, but then they switched teams and she never appeared. So Chris Claremont has always basically said that like Gambit was supposed to come in and infiltrate and be a bad guy, and then he got kind of popular and they ended up kind of like switching his direction, which I am thankful for because it obviously took him into a very different territory. But in hindsight, like if he was intending to like seduce Kitty, like that comment to Storm, technically speaking, would not have been out of character. It kind of fills in, like it makes sense in the sense of that backstory, but since they clearly quashed that and didn't go forward with it, now it's just like, that's weird. And it remains just kind of this one-off.
It feels out of place.
It's like a thread that was dangled and then nothing came of it, so it just kind of makes him look like a pervert. It doesn't serve any narrative purpose.
To a child.
Like it's just
like, oh,
it just exists to make you go,
say.
That's a weird thing to say out loud, sir. Like,
sir.
Yeah, that's
but
also
words.
The intention was for him to never like fall in love with Rogue. Like it wasn't supposed to be Rogue. It just ended up obviously being Rogue. So there's like it's a hot mess. And again, it's like it's editorial and it's like we're going to do this and we're not going to do that. And then when new characters are added, obviously the fans take them whatever direction. Like we end up having an impact. So the fans from the early 90s were like, hey, we like this guy. We want to see more of him. Jim Lee obviously liked him, wanted to see more of him, started adding him into stuff, taking him forward, and then writers kind of ran with him. And I'm really, really glad they did that because that's why we got him today. And I'm glad that they did not make him seduce Kitty Pryde because that's weird. And I'm glad they dropped the thing with Storm because that's also weird. I mean, it's also weird when she's an adult since he met her technically when she was a child, but that's a whole level of weirdness we will get into in later editions of this podcast. We'll come back to that. It'll be a while.
There's layers to the
There's
weird.
layers
We have to drill down.
It's an onion, okay?
Yeah, it is an onion. But we're starting with like the bad shit that could have happened, so we appreciate the good shit that did. Like this is where this is supposed to be going. Let's see.
But I think from the first issue, it was destined to be Rogue, and the reason I say that is me going off on a tangent.
Here we go.
So this is the reprint of it, and I like making connections where there absolutely is none. So this is.
I love it.
We're comic readers. It's what we do.
Introducing Gambit. This is introducing Gambit, and then at the end of the issue, it does go on to Mystique a bit, but Destiny is mentioned because I like that word as well. But we all know who Destiny is. And then you have the, the writers, the fans write in, and you get the answers from like the things and that. Most of these are about when Rogue is coming back. They are asking when Rogue is coming back. So I love that the issue is pretty much, here's Gambit, Destiny, where's Rogue?
God.
There we go. That's it.
I mean, you're reading a lot
Show's
into that.
over. Show's
I'm
over.
picking up what you're putting down, and I like it.
So, yeah.
I
That's
appreciate
my
it.
connection where there is none, but there you
Love
go.
it. Amazing.
I appreciate that theory, but more than that, I appreciate the tone of your delivery, which is giving me just like you've got like pictures on a bulletin board with
that
strings,
meme,
and you're
that
just
meme.
pointing
Look at
at
the
it.
string.
Like, look, we've got Gambit, we've got Destiny.
Destiny and Rogue. That's the only word you need in that order. It's there from the first appearance of Gambit. There you go.
I buy it.
Bonnie's like, tinfoil hat on. We're going for this. Like, this is how it's going to happen.
Yeah. I just love that the questions were all about where is Rogue, and it just happened to be on the back issue of introducing Gambit. So yeah,
that's so
one
weird.
one level further
go.
in that conspiracy theory, like half of those letters are actually from Gambit asking.
Yeah.
where Rogue is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm
I've
going to
seen
put different
pictures.
names. And I'm going to
I'm here now. Where'd she go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was
So, yeah.
told there would be a hot Southern woman. Give her to me.
That's it. Yeah, that's him putting in his request.
Man, if it's
Yeah.
that easy, jeez.
Yeah.
So
That was my
going back to
non-existent connection.
the how he's also okay. So how Claremont said that it was not supposed to be Rogue. There is another. This is where it gets kind of dicey because I don't know if it's Claremont misremembering and getting characters mixed up or what the deal is. He actually had an interview where he said he was supposed to come in. This is an exact quote. Meet Rogue. Rogue was supposed to fall in love with him, and the act of falling in love develops a humanity in him that separates him out from Sinister, because we were talking about him being part of Sinister's whatever the hell Sinister does. Or rather, Sinister's human half, and then it would have been... There's so much more backstory to this, because like in that version where it was supposed to be like Mr. Sinister and Gambit were created as part of that 11-year-old Mr. Sinister, technically Nate's mind, that kid was in love with Rogue. So it would then become this weird love triangle. This is so weird. Between an 11-year-old boy, Gambit, and Rogue. And then the kid would become the bad, Gambit would be the good, and then him and Rogue would run off together. So this is from another interview. Like, there's a lot going on here. And this is an older interview, which is presumably closer to when this whole thing would have been brought up. So, like, that... I don't want to say that makes sense because that's a chaos. It's like, I'm not sure what was going on there. Chris Claremont, that's what was going on there. He just always has a kind of this wild ass ideas. Which is why we love him. Like, realistically, like, a lot of the just convoluted shit that he came up with is like, that's great. But this was like, okay, that's a little weird. And then all of a sudden, like, 5 years ago, he's like, no, it's Kitty Pryde. And everyone's like, what? and then, like, the origin keeps, like, changing. Like, oh, he was intended to be a construct. Oh, he was intended to be created by this kid. Oh, he was created by this kid to infiltrate and fall in love, but then he really falls in love with the character and then, like, runs... Or just, like, he was just there to be, like, a narrative time bomb and just to show up and just destroy stuff. So, like, initially, like, his appearance is, like, when you read him, he doesn't read like a villain. He reads, like, a little sketchy, perhaps. But there's nothing outwardly, like, bad about him, which is probably why, like, they were like, oh yeah, you're fine, come in, Mr. Thief, join the team, it's fine.
Yeah, he just stole a few things, it's alright.
And obviously, like, the readers were like, hey, this guy's very charismatic and he seems to be like an ally and he seems to be like wanting to be part of the team, and they liked him, which is why they continued to push that narrative. But apparently he was like a Trojan horse. That was his intended purpose, was to be a Trojan horse. And it's like, the more you know now, it's like, okay, that makes sense. But because there's now so many different theories, all from the guy that created him, like, there's like 3 or 4 different ones now. And they're all a little different. And they all, like, have, oh, this one seduces Rogue, that one seduces Kitty Pryde. Like, which one is the real one? And the truth is, like, we're never gonna know, because it was 35 years ago.
Thank goodness.
And none of them ended up happening. The closest one to happening, and this one is also a point of contention, is that Gambit was originally created to be a Summers brother. Because we need another fucking Summers brother. Isn't
that like
and
all
this
the X-Men
one is the one that
Summers?
pisses people off the most, because we're like,
Yeah.
no, we finally have something different from Cyclops. Like, why would this be a thing? Later on, much later on, Chris Claremont came back to the X-Men for a period after this initial creation of him, and he actually wrote that. Like, he wrote, there's an X-Men, it's called X-Men The End, but I don't know if they would consider it like an aborted universe. It was supposed to be like a future part of 616, but technically not canon. And in that comic, he very specifically wrote that Gambit was intended to be a Summers brother and was a Summers brother, and he was created like lab shit with Mr. Sinister, and then just like left in New Orleans. And then he was raised by the Cajuns to become Gambit, and was not raised as a Summers brother. And there is some narrative stuff in the comics as we're going forward that you'll notice that makes sense with that theory. Like that, you can tell that that was something that was intended and then briefly considered. Because they were actually like talking about it. They were talking about it. Like rumor mill in the comic shops at the time through the 90s was that Gambit was this brother of Cyclops, basically. This third brother. And they alluded to there being... I don't know if they ever specifically said third brother. They said like another brother. I think Mr. Cinder said like there's another brother out there, which still kind of leaves it open, technically. But then because so many people were like, oh, it's Gambit, they were like, just kidding, it's Vulcan. And then they introduced him.
Gotcha.
And then that other, what's that other random, like, Adam? I don't know, the fourth one that just, like, appears very briefly in the 90s and just disappears.
I lost track.
I
lost track
so
of all
there's
the
at
summers.
least 4. The third one for sure seems to be like, just kidding, it's not Gambit, it's this guy. And then the fourth one just appears and leaves again. So, like, the Summers family tree in and of itself is a nightmare to try to figure out.
It's a tumbleweed.
It's not even a tree. It's like a ball of roots
It's a tumbleweed.
and nothing growing out of it.
It's just a bowl of
bad.
spaghetti, just
It's just very,
blah.
very convoluted. So, technically in 616 canon, it was alluded to that he was Summer's brother, but then kind of abandoned for Vulcan. And then in the X-Men, the end that Claremont wrote, it was clearly like he was supposed to be. And that explicitly stated. And it's also explicitly stated in that period that Gambit and Rogue are married, and they have 2 kids. So I'm just going to take that hill and die on it there. Future versions of Gambit are also intended to get married to Rogue, and it's supposed to be a thing. So suck it, haters. It was intended by the guy that created him. We're just going to ignore the Summers part, because I don't want to hear that. Let's...
No.
Yeah, I don't want
just
to do
cherry-
that.
Not everything needs to be about the Summers.
And I don't understand... I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't understand Scott Summers, like, just in general,
I don't
like, the
either.
popularity
I don't either.
of him. Because he's just... I don't want to say
He's a
boring,
douche.
but...
It's fine.
He's kind of, he's kind of a douche.
You can say it.
Actually, I got in like this discussion with my husband because he's like, "Why don't you like Scott Summers?" And I was like, "Well, because he was like married to Jean and whatever, and then she died, which happens a lot, and then he met Madeline Pryor,
Especially to her.
Spoiler alert: clone of Jean. Marries her? Did he marry her? I know they were together and they had cable. I don't remember if they were married or not. So
I think they got married.
Has like a wife, has a family, and then Jean Grey comes back and he's like, poop, going out for cigarettes, and just never comes back.
Hey, it runs in the family, okay?
It does. But, like, I don't know how you can look back on that and be like, he's a nice guy. Like, the whole, like, Goblin Queen arc is because he was a piece of shit. He abandoned her. So, I don't know.
Oh no.
I don't
Like,
understand how he
realistically, like,
keeps
Gambit's done
pulling
some
the
sketchy
hot
shit.
telepaths.
Yeah, he does. Gambit does some sketchy shit, but he's never abandoned a wife and a child and run off with his dead... I don't know, does it count as an ex-wife if you're I don't... Like, logistically speaking, if you're married and they die but are resurrected, is it still an ex-wife?
Right.
Does the marriage get annulled?
Right.
I mean, if there's a death
Interesting.
certificate, I think that's pretty official. Like,
Is he
legally.
like a polygamist now? Like...
Oh,
Excellent.
I did not need that in my head. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome for that.
Uh,
And technically speaking, they would actually be like sister wives.
yeah, I know
jeez.
that's exactly what immediately popped in my head.
Yep, they're basically the same person.
No,
You're welcome for that.
No,
Everyone enjoyed that visual.
nope.
But it's like, I get that he's supposed to have drama, and that's why they're just like, everything's connected to Scott Summers. But like, I think it serves better narratively if Gambit isn't.
Yes. Like, I
Like, I know we
see
don't
where
know a
it
whole
was
lot about it.
going, because, so after reading that, I did go back and reread the end, and
To be depressed?
Yep. But I mean, the explanation does make sense, but I do like that it kind of went into the sort of nature versus nurture sort of situation of, you know, like, it was Mr. Sinister wanted to create, because he wasn't a mutant, he was like, okay, I want to make like a mutant version of myself. I'm going to use my favorite mutant's DNA, because I don't know why he's got such a hard on for Scott Summers, to make this clone. And then apparently Apocalypse is like, haha, I don't trust you, and like kidnaps the clone, and like that's how he ends up doing his own thing. And then it's like, without the Mr. Sinister influence, that he goes and actually finds his own morally gray, but, you know, path to
It's
becoming
ambiguous.
this, hero. So that's I like elements of it, but my main issue with it is just that we don't need to have everything in X-Men revolve around the Summers family.
That's a valid point, because the Summers family is a hot mess.
Yeah.
And it's still a hot mess, like, canonically, like, as of, like, last issue. It's still, I don't know what the hell's going on with them. Like, there's just so much happening. The other thing, this is my other personal hang-up, is I feel like Scott Summers is very vanilla, and Gambit is very spicy. In whatever way you want to take that, I have
Many.
a particular way that I am taking it. No one's pineappled me. I'm surprised. Like
I was thinking
for
it.
I'm
thinking it really hard.
line
Rather
of
mild.
you guys throwing the safe word at me. I'm skirting the line. However, like, there's no way those two men are related. Like, there's just
No.
no.
Like, I think
Scott
for
Summers has the
spice
game
level...
of a wet sock. Scott Summers has the game of a wet sock.
For spice level, both in
Wow.
personality and in spice tolerance as
Yes.
well, because I'm pretty sure that everyone in the Summers family thinks that black pepper is spicy.
It's valid.
Oh no, that's great.
Yeah,
I
Scott
love
Summers
that.
looks like someone gives him like a glass of milk and tucks him into bed every night.
Absolutely.
There you go, sweetie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be okay.
Yeah.
And then Gambit looks like he's like smoking a cigar, and Rogue's like, "Put it out, like go to bed." And he's just like, "Let me have some bourbon and smoke my cigar." Like,
Yeah.
that's how he gets tucked into bed every night.
Oh, it's one of the ways.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Same.
Again, pineapple.
Wait, did I get the first pineapple? Oh,
I think you kind of did.
yeah!
There you go. Congratulations.
Ugh. And here we all thought it would be me.
Yeah.
I was skirting the line, but I'm proud of you. This
I
is a moment.
committed.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Ugh.
That's great.
Riley's just
I
like,
love that.
what do I sign myself up into with these women?
It's like, my schedule is about to be very busy. Sorry, I can't
Yeah, exactly.
record.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, damn. Yeah. So of all of the potential theories for Gambit's, like, introduction, what he was supposed to be, like, which one of these guys is your most favorite that you kind of wish they maybe would have gone with? Or the lesser of most evils, I guess. Like, the thing that you think would have added dimension but not been, like, something you totally hated if they had gone forward with it. Devil's advocate here. I mean, honestly, I'm glad none of them. Like, I think they all...
Yeah, I'm like,
there's reasons they were abandoned.
none of these.
Asking the deep thoughts. Vonnie just looks horrified. I don't know. Some of you won't be able to see her face, which is like,
Yeah,
what
'cause
are
I'm
you?
looking out for what they were, and it's just like, no, I'm just kind of glad it went the way that it did.
Yeah, right?
Same, because
Like, would you
Just
rather
can't
be
think
of it
shot
any
in the
other way.
face or shot in the stomach? Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
like your. Either
Yeah.
way, you're
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
gonna
that's it.
die. But which one would be the better way to go?
Yeah, how much pain would you like whilst you...
well, you bleed
Yeah.
out.
Because I feel like seducing
no.
Kitty Pryde, who's basically barely a legal adult, that's getting shot in the face. That's a bad day. Whereas, like, the Scott Summers being your brother, you know, that's like an abdomen shot. That's a lesser.
Maybe
of-
very, very estranged brothers, like,
Yeah,
very, very
because they weren't raised. You could justify, like, well, they weren't raised together. Like, obviously, they develop very different personalities. He's not a piece of shit. If he's a Summers, he's just genetically a piece of shit, but not physically a piece of shit.
Wow.
Again, nature
Sorry, I'm
versus
gonna get so much
nurture.
hate mail. Sorry,
Alright, you really
Sorry,
are.
not sorry. I make no like misconceptions about my love-hate relationship with Cyclops. If you've seen
Alright,
any of my
so-
memes, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, I think of the circumstances here, if you have to choose between him basically seducing or being a Summers brother, I guess the Summers brother is the least offensive of those.
Okay, I'm gonna jump on a grenade here.
Oh god.
Well, she's taking one for the team.
Wait!
Yeah,
Wait!
so-
Wait.
But it's like, pineapple!
Oh no.
Okay,
Oh,
this
no.
is purely because I was like, based on the oh, he was supposed to seduce Kitty. Like, I then went down the little rabbit hole of like, okay, where was she in all this? But So I think that she was a little bit older than what you're thinking. So again, like there's an age gap, but I don't think that she was like, a teenager. I think that she was a young adult. So it's still problematic. It is. But I don't think that it was like, oh, she's in high school and he's like 25 sort of a situation. So I'm going to actually go with that mostly because I just really hate the theory of him being a Summers brother that much.
Anything but that.
So you'd rather him be a bad guy that seduces Kitty Pryde and explodes the X-Men?
Hang on. No, let me finish.
Grenade hasn't gone off yet. Give her a moment.
It's ticking.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that would be a good, like, let's follow through with that. But, however, on the path to seducing Kitty, as is his original mission, he then gets distracted by a certain Southern belle, and then we're gonna like tie in one of the other aborted. See, I'm taking little bits from the different
little threads
elements here. So then he is like, oh damn, she's awesome. Like, just kidding. Screw you, Mr. Sinister. I'm staying here and switching sides.
Switching sides.
Exactly.
All right, I appreciate.
I'll accept
the mashup there. Bonnie's like, yes! Blah,
Sorry,
blah, blah, Destiny Rogue! Blah, 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 Destiny Rogue. That's all.
Right. Exactly.
That definitely makes sense.
Destiny Rogue.
Destiny Rogue, that's all you need to know. Riley, what is your least offensive of these? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
I'm kind of agreeing with Liv because she was a little older. It's not like she was like 8 years old, okay? Like, if she was 8, I'd be like, okay, get out of here right now.
Yep.
Go to jail. But yeah, it's not like like when she first started in the team.
Yeah, it's not like
now,
the whole
that
her
would
with
be
Peter
like
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're both wax. We're not gonna touch. We're not touching that.
Yeah, but I feel like that is the least, if you would say.
So now, if you take Chris
absolutely
Claremont's
no Cyclops, absolutely no, I'm not here for that.
that's your own. No, sir.
No.
So now, if we take what Claremont had
pass.
said in his other interview about how he was supposed to come in, meet Rogue, fall in love with Rogue, and then decide to switch
as
teams.
a child. He's a child.
The child's where the child has manifested him. This is
where I don't.
Thank you, Chris Claremont. This is
the child has
manifested version of Gambit is
and
supposed to
Mr. Sinister.
And Mr. Sinister is supposed to come in, be swayed by Rogue, and then switch to the good side and abandon all of Mr. Sinister's plans. Now, had that woman not been Rogue and been Kitty, would you guys be okay with it? Removing Rogue from the equation. It's only having Kitty.
If it's not Rogue,
confused.
then no.
I'm still so confused. I thought it was he's this old man like projecting into a child and he falls in love with Rogue. That's how I'm reading this.
It was an immortal person trapped in the body of a 12-year-old. That's where the kid came from. And that is the real mystery. I told you, Chris Claremont, you guys, there had to have been I don't want to, maybe he's dabbling
I feel like there's a couple different versions of
hallucinogenics. I'm not sure what was happening.
You know what?
No. I think there's multiple versions of this. I think that's why it's so confusing.
See, the problem is he keeps changing his damn story.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps, like, we're going to be an immortal person that makes two, like, a child, and then there's two different, like, Mr. Sinister, and then there's Gambit.
Because there's the version of Mr. Sinister constantly, like, regenerating. That's the I know Ron franchise. Sorry, but like, you know, putting his consciousness into like a new body. So I think that's where the like old man projecting himself and, you know, as a young child. But I think that the theory that we're talking about was that he was an actual child. Because it was Nate who grew up in the same orphanage as Scott. So again, we're freaking Scott Summers connection. And he was like obsessed with Scott Summers, and that was like his mutant power. Again, we're getting very like, sometimes he's a mutant, sometimes he's not. We don't know. We're just kind of whatever works at the time.
that Nate kid was supposed to be like Mr. Sinister, like his
Yeah.
OG form. So that explains the weird fascination with Summers a little bit.
Mhm.
It still makes it weird. Like, just there's not.
But then
really
he makes a
Absolutely.
projection of himself. So we have
to be the bad guy.
Hang on. Let me just trace that back. Okay, so we have old man Mr. Sinister. We're gonna call him old, okay? So we've got old man Mr. Sinister projecting his consciousness into a boy who then manifests another Mr. Sinister who is a grown man.
And
Why?
a bad one. Because I don't.
But how grown? Like 60 years old or 25?
I don't know how
like
old.
what?
Like the actual, like the Mr.
Like
Sinister is in canon.
that seems redundant.
It's Chris Claremont. Like, it's just.
I mean, yeah. That's all you
I
have
think
to say.
sometimes he just came up with an idea and they're like, yeah, go with it. And he just ran. He's like me if you give me an idea. Just go. We're just gonna go and it'll figure itself out later.
This feels like when I have a lot of different ideas about things and I don't write any of them down, and someone asks me about them, and I will say a slightly different thing every time because I just straight up can't remember because I didn't write it down.
Oh, like merge them.
This is basically the gist of my argument for Gambit's origin stories in the arc and the art, like where it's come from, is because this is what Chris Claremont did. I think realistically, like he had a plan for him. It's probably a really good plan. It could have been any one of these plans, but in his discussions with people on different podcasts over the last 15, 20 years, even longer, it just kind of changes every time. And sometimes it's Rogue, and sometimes it's Kitty, and sometimes he's a little kid that's completely unrelated to the mutants that created two people. Sometimes that kid happens to be Mr. Sinister. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes Gambit's supposed to be this and ends up being that. But the gist that it boils down to is that he was always kind of supposed to be a bad guy. Like, he was initially introduced as a bad guy. He was supposed to come in somehow, regardless of how he was created, infiltrate, and then ruin the X-Men. And because he came in and was popular, they were like, hold up just a second. We're going to change that. And that trajectory is how we got to the Gambit that we know and love, which is why it's important to kind of discuss his backstory and how it ends up being irrelevant, basically, because we as the fans spoke and were like, hey, we love this character, we want to see more of him, and as a result, everything got scrapped regardless of what it was supposed to be, and then moving forward, he was taken in a very different direction, which is something that we all have benefited from, and that's why he's our favorite character, because none of this shit happened, other than the questionable Storm comment. That did happen, sorry guys. But the rest of it, for the most part, has been scrapped. Now, there is still some illusions, like I said in 616, that he could be potentially a Summers brother, but the rest of it, him being a bad guy, thankfully has been removed from the process there, and he has come forward as a hero. So, full circle, we had to argue about it to get it out. But
So, I would...
To get it out.
are you going to argue? Are you going to argue again?
No.
Being
I'm
attacked
actually
by a
not
cat.
arguing. Yes, it's very distracting. Yeah, hi. We don't need that. Thank you. Bye. So
Yes, we do.
no, just one thing I did want to point out from the intended first appearance is that we're saying like he's supposed to be introduced as a bad guy, a Trojan horse, all that jazz. But I think even in the first issue, there's like he's never written directly in a bad way. Like he's introduced immediately as a thief. Like, so he's robbing the same house that Storm as a kid is robbing. And that's how they run into each other. But like he saves her, she saves him back, he saves her again, which I think is just absolutely adorable off the bat. But that one moment that I had kind of forgotten about until I did a reread is that when they're leaving the house, he calls the cops on the people that are still in the house, and he also makes the comment about like, oh, the guy that I was trying to steal this from stole it originally, so he's gonna end up getting caught instead, which first off like is just professional level trolling, which I'm here for. But like it's also okay, we got a thief, but we got a thief who's stealing from somebody who stole from somebody else. So it's like even from the get-go, he was never really introduced as like a black and white, this is what's going on sort of a character. Like, I think it's always been a little bit ambiguous, and I think he just kind of just rolls with his own kind of moral compass.
He's got a lot of like Robin Hood Fox vibes from like that Disney movie. Like that kind of like
that very specifically only the Fox version, not the regular Robin Hood.
Not the regular version, the Fox one.
There's some stuff to unpack with that, man. Mm-hmm.
We're not going into that.
The reasons.
We're not going into
we
that.
all know the reasons, Meg.
So forget the Kevin Costner one.
Well, I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's the animation thing. Like he was like I got a lot of very similar vibes.
That's what it was.
Maybe because I was watching the animated series at the same time I was watching like that. So like I noticed a lot of connections between those particular two versions because the regular version of Robin Hood when I was a kid was a little much for a child to be watching. There's a lot happening there. Anyway, so
I did not mean to get you flustered. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Robin Hood Fox, I can't help it. I'm not the only one. There's a lot of us out there, okay?
I know.
Pineapple.
Oh, no, that was epic. Yeah.
Pineapple.
So now we get to a segment of the show, now that we've finished our deep dive here, that we're going to lovingly call Smash or Pass. So, Riley, since you're the token man in here that doesn't want to be involved in this, you get to ask the question, and then each of us have to tell you all whether or not we would smash or pass the particular version of Gambit that has been discussed. And we have to justify it. We can't just say smash. You have to prove why you would.
Right. Okay.
So,
do I get to call
Riley.
on the people?
Yes.
Okay.
This is your thing.
So
wait, are we
this
not
is the
voting all at the same
question.
time?
Nope.
No.
Oh
I'm
no!
gonna single you all out. Okay.
Well, how about we hold up the signs at the same time and then justify.
Okay.
That way
All right.
you can't change your mind, assholes. Like
Oh no. All right. So, if Gambit were a Summers brother, would you smash or pass? Okay. All right. You know what? Who am I gonna go for? Vonnie, you go first because you're different. You're passing. Let me see.
Because it's the summers.
Valid. Valid.
like that's the
I
only
accept
reason.
that.
That's
A
the only
staff
reason.
length away from that. Absolutely. The only thing I would use of Gambits there is the staff to keep them away. So, yeah, no. If involved with the summers, it's
Oh no.
That's
Love
great.
it. Love it.
Damn,
Love it.
savage.
Okay. I love it.
Oh my God.
I accept that. I accept that.
Like
answer.
I don't want the
Thank you.
potential of having a Summers baby. Hard pass.
Ooh.
I don't need that drama in my life.
No.
Lord.
All right. Liv, you go. We'll leave Ducky for last.
I mean, this is all
'Cause I'm
your
the least
fault, so yeah,
surprising.
you should go to
Yeah.
last.
No, this is shout
yeah,
out
so-
to Geeky Fit. Smash or Pass was her idea. So thank you, Geeky Fit. This is amazing. We're gonna do it every time.
Yeah, so I surprisingly after the rant that I just went on, I'm gonna go with Smash. Cause well, damn, but like, it's not like he's in like an alternate universe. It's still, you know, him. Now we just have more information on lineage. But
Depressing.
depressing lineage.
Depressing lineage.
But yeah, so I'm gonna make that same nature versus nurture argument. So yeah, like might have been intended to be Summer's brother / Mr. Sinister. Like the genetics might be problematic, but you know it's fine. It's fine. However,
Caveat.
still, you know, raised in a very separate environment. And, you know, still presenting, I assume, as current, like, 616 Gambit, 100% would smash.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Love it. All right, Meg.
Smash. And I can justify it. Okay, there's a reason. Because Scott Summers having 0 game except for telepaths that read his mind and make him have game. Gambit has a bunch of games, so clearly, like, genetically, Scott got none of it, and Gambit got all of it. Like, that's how that worked. That's why Scott is so boring, because Gambit got all of his personality. Like, maybe they were, like, twins separated at birth. Like, and just...
Well,
they're
that's
just
even
very
worse.
different.
That's even
It could be.
worse.
You never know. Gambit got all the good
Oh,
shit, and
no.
Scott is just what's left over. It's... So, absolutely smash.
I thought it was both of y'all coming off the talk of Fox Robin Hood.
I mean, still, I'm riding on the Fox Robin Hood high.
Oh, yeah.
Oodle lolly. Here we go.
Don't.
Oodle lolly. Oodle lolly.
Don't ruin that movie for me.
You love it. You love it. Oh no.
The Lord. Okay, now we're moving on to the last couple of segments here. The first one's going to be Charge the Card. Moving on. This is where we tell you about Gambit stuff to buy, and this week it's going to be a freebie for y'all. For those of us that play mobile games like I have an unhealthy addiction to, they have the Marvel Mystic Mayhem mobile game, and as of August 22nd, Gambit is now a character for that. We do have some Gambit Spotters that have already obsessively collected this character, and have been lovely enough to post the audio clips from the game onto our Discord, and it's AJ Lucasio, which he kept a dirty, dark secret, by the way, until the game was literally out and his voice came out of it, and then he's like, ta-da! Like,
he's good at keeping secrets.
So, for those of you that aren't familiar with X-Men 97, AJ Lucasio is the voice of Gambit in X-Men 97, and this is my other crackhead theory here we're going off on. The people that do the Marvel Mystic Mayhem mobile game are the same people that do Marvel Rivals. So, I'm making a dirty assumption here, but it doesn't make sense to use a different guy for Marvel Rivals if they just used him for this other game, and presumably maybe some of the audio will be the same, so they could just like use it for both games. Who knows? However, it's a freebie.
Conspiracy theory board.
Bonnie's like, yes, give it to me. I have not played
maybe
Marvel
I'll play
Rivals
it then.
much yet because I die immediately.
Yeah.
I was Jeff the
Me
Land
too.
Shark for a little bit till he became a cockblocker and I don't like him anymore, and I have to pick a different character. There's backstory there. If you read the Jeff the Land Shark, you will understand why I'm mad at him. Okay, like he ruined a perfectly good Romy moment. Shark. Anyway, if they bring Gambit to that, I may actually play it. Like, I'm actually make a good faith effort to play that game versus Goat Simulator, which seems to be all I play on PS5. I bought it just for that, apparently.
Let me just say, it's a fun game, Marvel Rivals, but I don't care about any of those characters, so I don't really want to play it.
So they got to hook you with
You
the
know?
So that might be a good way to...
I do like Storm. Storm and
She
Loki,
does look pretty
I do
badass.
like them, but yeah, waiting for Gambit.
So if you're listening, Marvel Rivals people, make it happen. I know it's going to happen, but... Again, for those of you that like free shit, for once, I'm not encouraging you to buy stuff. Marvel Mystic Mayhem is a free game. So you can download it on your phone and just go from there. You can have Gambit in your pocket.
Nice.
No one pineapple me for that? I was expecting it.
No.
Give it a second, damn.
Well, Vonnie made a face. She's picking up what I am putting down. And then the rest of this is going to be upcoming appearances. So, for Gambit upcoming appearances, we're going to do the first half of September. We're going to have Uncanny X-Men number 20, comes out September 3rd, so that just came out this week. I've had a chance to look at it already. There are some non-spoilery or modified panels, basically, on Gambit Spotting's Instagram, so you can swipe through those at your leisure. Again, I just kind of cut the Gambit panels out so you don't see a lot of the text, so you can just kind of see the visuals, and don't ruin the comic book for you, but still get a kind of vibe of how many times he's in there. There is also a discussion on our Instagram post for that comic if you guys would like to participate. He's also going to come out in Ultimate Wolverine number 9, presumably, because he's been in the last couple here. Ironically, in a relationship with Kitty Pryde.
As it was always meant to be, as of 4 years ago.
See?
We'll see. So that's coming out September 10th. It's a really good book if you guys haven't picked it up yet. It's very fun for being an alternate universe. Some people are a little mad at the Nightcrawler angle in that, so just be forewarned if you're a Nightcrawler fan and you have not picked it up, be wary. The other comic appearance also coming out on September 10th is going to be X-Men of the Apocalypse, Alpha number 1. Yes, we're rehashing the Apocalypse arc. There's some rumor that this, like, the Age of Apocalypse is now... Sorry, X-Men of the Apocalypse is supposed to crash into 616, and there may be some lasting ramifications from that. So if you have not picked up that comic, or were not thinking about it, it may actually impact 616, so it might be worth a look. For actor spotting for convention appearances, Alessandro Giuliani, who is the voice of Gambit in X-Men Evolution, he's going to be September 12th through the 14th in Little Rock, Arkansas at the Arkansas Comic Con. Phil Lamar is going to be in Grand Prairie, Alberta, Canada at GrandeCon from September 12th through the 14th. He is the voice of Gambit in Wolverine and X-Men. He only played, it was in a couple of episodes there, but Phil Lamar, fabulous guy. He's in a bunch of other stuff. So if you're not familiar with him, look him up. He's amazing. And last but not least, Tony Daniels, who was the voice of Gambit in, I think, 2 episodes of the original X-Men animated series when Chris Potter was unavailable. He will be at Back-in-Con at September 5th through the 7th in Williston, North Dakota. Fun fact, Tony Daniels is also the voice of Tony the Tiger, which threw me so badly when I realized that, because I was like, grew up with like, that's great, like, or they're great, whatever he said. So to know that he voiced Gambit in the same general period, kind of a mindfuck, just a little bit. So thank you guys for joining us on our first Gambit Spotting podcast. It was a great time. I hope you guys had fun listening. Hopefully we didn't ramble too much. We all mostly have some ADHD, so I'm really proud of us. We did an excellent job, you guys.
We did so good.
We did so good. I'm so proud. And look at us going. Up next, we're going to do an episode again in 2 weeks. Episode 2 is going to be Gambit's initial vibe, physical descriptors, and original uniforms. We're going to talk about, like, the aesthetics, basically. So thank you guys for having us. I hope you enjoyed your time. And we will see you guys in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.